Onion Cycles podcast is about thought provoking, emotion evoking, action driven, step by step guidance to explore the unique, glorious, and wonderful ocean of your being. Because healing is a multi layered process of getting to know oneself. Become the self empowered empiric researcher by discovering the unique layers of your existence. With your host, Nadine Alma, welcome to the Holistic Healing Hub. Welcome to the Onion Cycles podcast. Hello and welcome back, my beloved onions. It is an absolute privilege to have you here with me on this journey of healing. I welcome you back to this place, to this space of vulnerability, of work to be done, of growing as a soul, as people, as a world united. I am very grateful that you chose to spend your time with me, and as always, dive straight into the empiric research and getting to know yourself. I thank you very much for your trust and that you decided to invest your precious time to tune in again. And here we go with story 6, episode 6, accountability and responsibility. I want to navigate this topic through the lens of The Hero's Journey. The Hero's Journey by Joe Campbell is basically the recipe for almost all stories that we are told, that we see in movies, that we read in books. I decided to view accountability and responsibility through this lens because with this subject comes hard truths into our lives, hard truths that admittedly enable us to heal, that enable us to be self empowered, and yet it takes time to adapt, adjust, and let go of whatever label we had put on ourselves, put on to others, and the roles that are played out in our own lives. So, choosing the hero's journey as a method to make it more approachable from a lens of objectivity rather than judgment. Because accountability and responsibility is an essential part in healing our inner core wounds and an essential part in growing and going further and becoming the person that we want to become and becoming the people we want to become and live the lives we want to live. This is the essence, this is the ingredient that can change our whole perception around and that really mess up our whole perspective in the most beneficial possible way, if that makes sense. Just a quick disclaimer: the Joe Campbell, The Hero's Journey, I won't dive into the specifics of the hero's journey, but I wholeheartedly would recommend anyone and everyone who's out there who feels that this might resonate with them to research it for themselves. Remember, curiosity is a pillar of healing, and if you feel a spark there, go into the internet, go into your library, and just dive into this hero's journey that has also been used and has also been viewed from a psychological point of view. So there are a lot of books and there is a lot of content out there in how the hero's journey translates into our own healing journey, into our own very personal and very real life stories. There are 17 stages, and it all begins with the call to adventure. Sort of like when you wake up one morning and say, I want to change, I need a change, I need to do something else, and then you just do it. I have to put into parenthesis here that you can also sort of push this call down, which is also one of the stages of the hero's journey, is that the hero simply refuses the call. And then everything after that ends with basically 16, the mastery of the two worlds, meaning the material and the spiritual, energetic world. And then 17, the freedom to live. So that's the 17 stages outlined. So there's quite a lot of content out there. So I don't need to dig too deep into the specifics of that. And on the other hand, we have 8 archetypes defined as the hero, the mentor, the herald, inviting to go on this journey, the ally, the trickster, the shapeshifter, and the shadow that creates the conflict, which is also known as the villain, and the shadow aspect of the hero, maybe showing what he was repressing or showing what he has to work through in order to become whole again. There's also the guardian. And if you are, like I said, if you're interested, just dig deep here, and it will thoroughly contribute in a very healthy and very beneficial way to your healing journey if you want to dive into The Hero's Journey by Joe Campbell. So I want to start off with a paragraph that should really transport you into a story of a hero and into the different perspectives of how this hero can at the same time be a villain and also a mentor for someone else. Fear gripped her whole body as she stood, shivering in the shadow of the great oak. One last look back to all that was familiar to her. The loved ones she'd leave behind, and yet she knew this needed to be done. Deep down, she knew that she'd kept destiny waiting for far too long, avoiding the obvious. Follow the call into the unknown. And what we have here is an outlined hero that can at the same time be viewed as a villain. For example, the loved ones she leaves behind, they might be viewing her as the villain, leaving the family um, just behind and being selfish and doing her own thing and disregarding the needs of her family, maybe her siblings. She could also be the mentor in the story of one of her siblings, showing that it is right to do something out of the ordinary, out of what is expected of you. So, what I want to emphasize here is that to me, accountability and responsibility in our own lives are way easier to digest if we view it through objectiveness. That means that perspectives change perception. This is the main mindset we talk on this episode. The purpose of this episode is that we remain non judgmental observer of our own lives. Taking responsibility in its essence does not mean we agree with which what happened to us. It does not mean that we have to forgive, and it certainly does not mean that we forget what we have viewed as an abuse or something that was unfair and unnecessary that happened to us, that had been inflicted on us by someone else. Taking responsibility is empowering ourselves to acknowledge that there is wisdom there that can come out of it, like a death and rebirth, like a change of the life trajectory, the change of a perception on a subject, on something fundamentally will change once we accept that, viewed from an objective bird's eye view angle, we are able to take responsibility for what happened and take control back, gain control back to choose now what to do next. We are accountable for how we react to what happens in the outside, how we react to what's going on inside, what we do about it. This is self-empowerment in its essence. And once we understand that no matter what happens to us, from the death of a loved one, from inflicted wounds on our inner child, on our soul, everything comes down to how we react to it. So, this does not mean, like I said, that it's right, that we should just forgive and forget, that we should just let it go. No. This means that we are very, very conscious, mindful, compassionate, and loving with ourselves while going through the stages of grieving. Because, in essence, we grieve something. A part of us has died, a part that the part that we were before this happened to us dies, something gives, something breaks. And out of that, after all of these stages of grieving and being kind to ourselves and gentle with ourselves and being patient and giving ourselves time, out of that can rise something new. And this whole beautiful, wonderful journey that comes out of that, the hero's journey, if you so will, the heroine's journey, if you so will, that is what makes us the person we become afterwards. And it can also be something positive. It can also be the call to go to the gym twice a week to build up our fitness and improve our health. And after a year, you don't even know who you were without it before, because you feel so at home with that new person and that new level of health within yourself. So, what I'm trying to say here is that as long as we consciously, mindfully, and fully aware of what's happening with us, how it makes us think, feel, and act, this is a space of pure essential healing that can catapult us forward into our own growth, into realizing how we indeed are powerful beings, eternal beings, having the human experience and honoring the human experience as it is. In the moment, we shed ourselves from victimhood, from the label of this happened to me, someone else did something to us. The moment we shed this label, we free ourselves from disempowered states of minds that hold us down, that keep us small, keep us in our place, make us relish in the illusion of separation, when indeed what happens to me happens to others. By the sheer fact that I send out the energy, I mirror what is happening in my life. Our birthright is abundance, and lack and separation are an illusion. So, in claiming back the self empowered decision to take responsibility for our actions, for what we may have brought into our reality, for being accountable of what we send out into the world that is reflected back to us, through acknowledging, appreciating, and starting to knowing us, loving us, caring for ourselves, we slowly shift our mindset to that of true respect for life, for ourselves, for how we are the creators and how we are empowered to do so. And we don't need permission from anyone else. In the moment we take responsibility, we become active. We determine the terms and factors that made us act as though we are a victim, when in reality we are eternal beings living the human experience, meaning we create through our thoughts, through our emotions, and through our actions. The moment we realize we are accountable and responsible is the moment we start creating our lives consciously, healing thoroughly, and no longer need anyone else or anything else to give us permission to do so. If you want to make this world a better place, it starts with you, and that's the whole podcast is about this, about shedding the layers of our own onion existence to find the diamond in the rough, and then go on and make that diamond shine brightly. Put it through pressure, polish it, and make it reflect the rays of sun in a kaleidoscope of rainbow colors, so that everyone else can see their own beauty and their own diamond within themselves as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're interested and if the hero's journey resonates with anything that you feel inside, dive into it and go through your own life and through all the situations you went through that caused pain or pleasure to yourself or someone else, and view it through a new perception and take the responsibility back. Be accountable for your role that you've played in that story, and therefore empower yourself to heal on your own terms and to make it your own story again. We are not victims. We are strong, capable, wonderful beings. We have been conditioned, we have been hurt, and we may absolutely acknowledge that and appreciate that and go through our own times of grieving and healing. But in the end, your life does not depend on someone else setting you free. It is about yourself setting yourself free, forgiving yourself. Set yourself free and discover the beauty within you, the grace again, the wonder that is sparked by realizing how powerful you are. I know it is scary. I know it takes a lot of strength, and it certainly isn't done within a week or within a month or a year. It may take decades. It may take a lifetime for some wounds to heal through taking back the responsibility and the accountability. But know that it is worth it, and know that there is a life waiting that will blow your mind. Know that the freedom you give yourself by taking your power back is so much more worth than whatever you think comes from not taking responsibility for the roles you played in the stories of your life. Be free, be powerful. Don't let anyone else put you into a role you don't want to play. This is a learning curve. This takes a lot. These are harsh and cold truths. But if we go through it, we realize that they're actually the antidote to being stuck, stagnant, and sad, repressed, depressed, compressed. The opposite of what we all are. Because I know how wonderful you are, how magical. Believe in your own magic. Believe in your own beauty. Believe in your unique gifts. Believe in the light you have inside and the love you have to give. Be bold, be courageous, be kind to yourselves, be kind and gentle to others. Love yourselves, heal yourself, and thank you with all my heart for your courage, for the privilege of spending time with me together on this journey that will free us all, heal us all, that will enable us to shine boldly and brightly, love fiercely, and live a life beyond everything we could have ever imagined for ourselves or others. Because once we understand that when we heal ourselves, we also heal others. And once we understand how we and ourselves living by example can inspire others to do the same and therefore have a ripple effect on all of the people you touch in your lives, that is truly magnificent. That is absolutely the peak of what anyone can do for this world. Live by example, love yourself, and as always, I see you, I understand you, and I love you very, very much, my beloved onions.